So with Black Ops 2, it's a direct sequel of Black Ops 1. So a lot of those characters that you had in Black Ops 1, Mason, Woods, etc., are returning. And really now you got the opportunity to go from the end of the Cold War in the 1980s all the way through 2025. So we're really spanning that storyline over 45 years, the advancements of technology, and really finding, one of the reasons why we did that is, when we look at the villain character, we were very ambitious in wanting to create, one of the most memorable video game villains of all time, and really being able to use and span over those 40 years gave us the ability to really tell the story on how, in the first Cold War, how the monster was made, and then see how it progresses moving forward to 2025.
This is the first time the Black Ops or the Call of Duty series is going to the future. How are you feeling about the future setting?
Right. So, for the future setting for us, like with everything, if you remember on Black Ops 1, we did a lot of research to make sure that it was very authentic. The authenticity was there, as far as, being able to go into the past. So, like, if you remember, you went into Panama, right, in the Bay of Pigs, and you were there for what everybody felt was a mission, but you were actually there to take out Castro. So moving forward with the future, it was exciting for our team to be able to talk to a lot of different advisors and a lot of very intelligent folks at Peter Singer, who works for the Brookings Institute, who talks about what does warfare look like in the future. So for us, it was really exciting to be able to say, okay, what are some of the toys that they're going to have? What are some of the technology that the future soldiers are going to be able to use? And it really, from a creative standpoint and from a gaming standpoint, really gave us a lot of unique ways in which we can introduce new toys, new gadgets, new weaponry, etc. for our fans.
As we have seen in the demo, there was a bit of sandboxing in the game. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely. So the level that you're referring to is called, it's in Singapore, and the level itself is called Strike Force. So in Strike Force, it's really the first time in a Call of Duty where you actually have, as you mentioned, this non-linear gameplay. So what that really enables the player to do is this. You can play it boots on the ground if you want. If that's your play style, you're used to that first person, you just want to finish the objectives and finish the level and finish in the time allotted, great. But we also think that there's also an opportunity for our players to sort of take a step back and be a general and set waypoints and look at the battlefield from above and say, okay, here's where we're going to defend the objectives, and you're going to command your squad to go to different parts of that. And if that wasn't enough, then we've added the ability to jump into some of the equipment that's out there. So you can jump into the claw and walk around with as an invincible drone, or if you want to jump into the quad rotor and fly around to get unique perspective on the battlefield. And while all of this is happening, you can zoom in, zoom out, and take command of anybody on the battlefield.
Is it possible to get a different outcome of these situations during the game? Absolutely,
and that's one of the interesting things with Strike Force is it's the first time you can actually fail a mission. And what does failure mean? Well, failure means that it will affect the storyline farther down the road. So you may, like in the mission you saw at Singapore, you need to take out a missile and you need to take out a cargo ship. Later on down the line, if that particular mission is not successful, you may find a little bit different resistance or a little bit harder in the game. So really it's this opportunity of, people may play the gameplay a certain way, they may be successful, they may not, and so when you're talking with your friends, hey, I got this ending, or gosh, this happened to me, or I've seen this character, and you're like, how's that about? How's that possible? That didn't happen for me. It's really this idea of playing with the branching storyline and using these Strike Force levels to help reinforce that.
Let's talk a bit technical. The Call of Duty Black Ops 2 uses the same engine as Modern Warfare 3 and let's say Black Ops 1, but with a lot of improvements.
So the team is always working. The team's always working on the engine. They're always trying to find ways in which we can take a look at it and make improvements and different things. So I think we really focus a lot on the lighting. So you'll see that a lot of that the lighting in a lot of the rooms are more of a natural feeling where it really adds that sense of realism, and it adds that sense of clarity where you really feel like you're in that level. So I think visually we're very, very happy with the direction where it's going.
As you said earlier, the game takes place in the future, also in the past.
Correct.
What happens in the past?
Well, without doing a lot of spoiling, what you're going to find is that's actually in the Cold War. So about a third of the game will take place in the past, 2/3 obviously in the future. But what the past does is it really helps set up our villain to where you've actually met him before, Woods has met him before, and you're actually going to be able to interact and get an idea of what he's about, right? How did this monster get created? And so by using that storytelling that Treyarch's famous for is really setting him up in the past and where it's going to go in the future.
Will the Victor Reznov make a comeback?
We're not talking about Mr. Reznov right now.
Okay, can you tell us a bit more about the multiplayer?
So, I mean, again, we've always done a lot of work on the multiplayer front. We're really not talking about, unfortunately, we're not talking about a lot of the multiplayer today, but rest assured, news will be happening in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. You'll find plenty of stuff on multiplayer for the future.